Hi there, I'm Anastasia Surridge. I'm a Zazzle Pro Designer, and today I'm going to show you how to edit text fields on a wedding invitation on a Zazzle template. Now, what I've got here is an all-in-one invitation on the product page, and I'm going to just show you step by step how you can edit each text line. Normally, when you edit a template, you go to this line here where it says Personalize this template, click on Details, and you would enter all your information in these text fields like this. All you have to do is just backspace over the existing text to delete it. I mean backspace over it to highlight it, and type in address, the address that you're working with, right? Don't do that now though, because it's going to throw everything off and confuse you once you get in to design it. Just click here on click to customize further, and you can personalize everything within the design editor. I find that the easiest way to do it on something like this. So on the left hand side, if you're not familiar with the design editor, you'll see all these different layers. Don't let that confuse you. In the middle, you'll see the design that you're working with in that particular layer. Also, don't let that confuse you. And on the right hand side, you'll see everything that is unique and pertaining to this layer. The layer that you're working on that you have highlighted. In this case, it says rectangle, so this is everything pertaining to a rectangle. Don't worry about that right now. So just go in where it says layers. If you're on a 5x7 invitation, pardon me just a moment, I have to pause. Thank you. So if you're on a 5x7 invitation, you won't have all these layers. You'll just have front and back. On an all-in-one invitation, you've got all these different layers, the inside and the outside. For our designs, we design on the inside and the outside. So just click on the layer that you're looking for. In this case, it's the inside layer. And what you want to do is you want to find the lines of text that you need to edit. So I'm going to just make this larger by clicking this little plus key. So it's easier to read and it's easier for you to see on the video. Now, if you look here at this design and you look down at the left, you're thinking, where are all these lines of text, right? See this one here that says group? And if you look at the little thumbnail, you'll see little lines. Let's just see if that's it. There it is. That's the group of text. And you can tell because it's highlighted all of these layers of text. Now go up to the top where it says ungroup here and just click on that, and that'll give you all the different lines that you can work with. What we're going to do is we're going to go line by line and adjust the lines of text as we need. So starting at the top, going down to the bottom. Now it might not be in this order, and it usually isn't actually in the design editor. So just go to find the one that you need at the top together with their families. And we can just type in what we need. In this case, in the example, we're making this a formal invitation. So we're going to say Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, request, excuse my fingers. I'm typing around a microphone, so it's clumsy. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson request the honor of your presence at the wedding of their daughter. Okay, that's what we're looking for. And you'll see it doesn't work here, right? Because this is a casual invitation that only has the first names of the bride and groom and a small amount of intro text. So when you're making it more formal, you need more rows of text and you need it to be wider to accommodate those. So what you need to do first is drag the edges of this text box until they allow all of that text to show. And there you go. Right? So now we just need to go down and edit the bride's name. Now, I can tell you right away that this is not going to fit here, and you can probably see that too. So if you look on the right, remember how I said on the left-hand side you've got the layer and everything about the layer is on the right-hand side? So if you come down here and see size, that's the size of the text. So you can edit the text, you can choose a different font, you can choose a different color, a different type size. And I'm just going to take this down to 18, just to trial at the moment. I'm not sure if that's the final size I'm going to use, but I just want to take it down to 18 right now so that we can have more room. And then I'll go up to edit text, I'm going to say Elizabeth Ann Johnson. And click OK when you've got the name in there and it doesn't fit. So what we need to do is, again, just drag these text edges out to resize this layer. Now the name is right, and I want to show you something about the design. So see the vertical lines there? That is now in the center. See the center green line? That shows that the name is in the center of the piece of paper. All these lines of text have been aligned to the center, which is what you want. Everything needs to be aligned to the center or it's going to look wonky. So, but we need more space. So change out each side until it's aligned. And don't worry actually if it doesn't, because you can move it like so until it is. And I'll show you how to double check at the very end to make sure everything is aligned. Now, we do have the problem that we can't read the first bit of the name because of this graphic. So look to the left where all the layers are and just scroll down. You can see the graphics are here on the left. So just click on a graphics layer and see if that's the one you want. And that happens to be it. Now, you can just keep clicking on these other layers of graphics to find the one that you need to work with. When it comes to working with a graphic, you have some options. You can resize it, making it smaller, but I wouldn't do that in this case. I just need to move it a little bit so that I can get that flower away from the name. So you can either turn it here, or you can drag the whole image off a little bit. I'm just going to drag this little tab here and turn it around. See what that looks like. That's turning it quite a lot, and it's changing the design a little bit, and I'm not sure if I like it or not. So I'm going to press Control Z to undo that move, and I'm going to just move it up here and see what I think. I kind of like that nestled in the corner, the way the graphic goes up there, like that, but I think I still need more room here because it's very close. So I'm now going to just drag this a little bit until that moves out of the way. See, it likes to snap it to a grid, and I don't care for that. So I want more fine tuning, and this is where the Zazzle editor does annoy me sometimes. I don't want it to snap to grid. Come on. There we go. So what I'm going to do is now go back to Elizabeth's name, and I'm just going to move this down just a little bit closer, because the spacing was good when it was 28 point, but now that it's 18 point text, it's not all that great. So I'm going to highlight her name. I'm also going to go back to the intro and press Control and then click on that layer. And then I'm going to keep the Control key pressed down, and I'm going to just nudge this down a little bit by pressing the down arrow key. And there we go. I'm just going to check the spacing in here because I don't like all the little things in the editor. That looks nice in terms of spacing. So next thing I'm going to do is change Michael's name. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to change that to 18. And I'm going to edit his name. Michael James Smith. And I'm going to adjust the size of this text box. So I'm going to move that to the left. And I'm going to drag that out to the right. And it's centered. Now, that looks nice. And I just need to nudge that up towards this line that says "and" that connects the two. So remember, pressing down Control and the up arrow key. Just going to move that up a couple of notches, the same distance that I moved the other one down. So it's even. And there we go. And next thing I need to do is I need to change the wedding date. No, I don't. I need to go in here to and I need to change that to 2. No, that's actually not a template field. If it's not a template field, actually, sorry, if it's a template field, it shows up on the editor on the product page. If it isn't a template field, it shows up here and you can edit it. So when you highlight on the line you can just go up here and edit text and write to. That's normally the connecting word when the parents are hosting. It's more formal. So now we've got Mr. and Mrs. Johnson request the honor of your presence at the wedding of their daughter Elizabeth Ann Johnson to Michael James Smith. And we need to change this here, because it doesn't make sense to say joyfully invite you to their wedding reception. So we can change this to say something else depending on how you've organized the type or depending on what you're saying. But in this case, we're actually going to get rid of that layer because it doesn't make any sense. So you can hide it or delete it as you like. But see this little I button here on the left? Click on that and it'll hide the layer. Or go up here to edit, click on that, and you can cut that line out if you want. But I would just hide it. It's easier. Now, what you want to do is click on these other lines of text and you want to bring them up. So we're going to go Saturday, or so the time and date, venue name, location, and reception to follow. One arrow key up will jump this up quite a lot, too much. So I'm going to go one arrow key down again to reverse it, or you can press Control-Z. Actually, that's so much space there. I think what I'll do is just go one up and then I'll nudge it down. So Control and the down arrow key to nudge this. And what I'm looking for is about the same amount of space sorry about that pause, about the same amount of space between the name of the groom and the date as we have separating these other blocks of text here. Although it should be slightly more because this is one block of text, this is one block of text, and this is all really one block of text visually is how you approach it in a wedding invitation. So we need to change the date next. So let's go up here and edit the date. We actually need a space in this template. December 15th, for example. And there's not going to be enough room, is there? Nope. So we need to drag this line of text out. And here again, just until you get that center line, that center vertical line saying that the text layer is centered on the design. So we've got the time, the date, that's great. Now we need the venue name. So let's say they're getting married at St. Joseph's Catholic Church. And click done, and that won't fit. So we're gonna drag left and drag right until it's centered. Where was that? There we go. That's not centered. That's centered. See how it's centered within the word to? And also if you look up at the top, I'll just have to take this away. The center line goes right through this point here. You can turn on grid lines too if you want to see if it's actually in the center or not. But it can be confusing, all these little lines that come in here and show, and you might accidentally go, oh, okay, that's the center vertical line, when it's actually only the center vertical line of something else, or an edge line of something else, another layer. So just be careful there. Make sure it's actually on the center line. There you go. Well, I find these grid lines distracting, so I keep them off. Now, don't really like that in two rows. That just looks clumsy and unprofessional. So I'm just going to keep dragging this out more. Dragging that out more. And I'm not worried about the graphical elements. I'm just worried about that line of text for the moment. I want to make sure that that is all on one line, and you can just move it till it's in the middle. And I'm going to nudge that down again. So remember how to do that? You press Control and the down out arrow key. Just give it a little nudge. And you're looking for the same amount of space as you have between the date and the time. That looks about right. Now, we actually need to put the street address in here as well. So we're going to do that. 123 Church Street, St. Louis, Missouri. And again, just drag the text box right and left to resize. And that's that middle line we're looking for. So that's in the middle. Reception to follow, let's make that dinner and dancing to follow. If you have, sorry, I'll tell you how to do that in a second. So we're just going to do this. If you have the reception at another location, is what I was about to say, and you need to put that information in here too. I'll just show you that in a second, how to do that. So the first thing you're going to need to do now is move this up, because it's now got this huge gap here, and that doesn't look right. I mean, you don't want to send out an invitation looking like that, right? It just doesn't look right. So dinner and dancing, address, name, and up we go. Just nudge it, control, and the holding down the control key or the command key, just the up arrow key. You want about the same amount of space as you have between dinner and dancing and the line above it, between this block of text and that block of text. And that looks fairly even, and that looks nice. Now, you might say, oh, I don't like how the name goes over this geometric or whatever. If there's something else in the background, I often use marble, and that might be over a piece of marble, or it might be over anything else. So just go down and find that layer, and you can scale it up and down. On the right hand side, you've got these scale buttons to subtract and to add. So let's add some scale and click that once and see how it does. Ah, there we go. Now we've got a bit of breathing room, and you can just take this layer and you can move it and adjust it within the design until it nicely nestles in the lines of text that you're looking for. That looks better. Now, I did promise you that I would show you how to add lines of text if you have the reception at another location. Generally, if you say reception to follow, you're talking about a reception in the same location. So if you have, say, a church hall, or if you're getting married at a country club or a vineyard, or in a function room in a in a hotel or something like that, receptions are often in the same venue as that. But if you're getting married in a church and then you're having the reception somewhere else, you might need, you're going to need that information on the invitation as well. Excuse my clumsiness. This is only my third video. So what I would do here is I'm just going to move dinner and dancing to follow. No, I'm going to change that. I'm just going to hide that. And then I'm going to just highlight these two layers of text. And I'm going to not copy them, because if I did, I'm copying a template, and whatever I changed in one layer is going to be exactly the same in the other. But because I've highlighted them like this, I'm going to go up here to edit. Oh, sorry, can't do that. I had a thought, it's not going to work out. So take one line of text, go up here and click text, and what that will do is it will make the next line of text that you're creating exactly the same as what you have here. So it's going to be 14 point, it's going to be Cormorant Garamond, and all you have to do is add this. So let's say the reception is at the, I don't know, the local country club for whatever. This is just an example anyway. So now go ahead and click up. Not that that's going to be the final location, But you see now how you have that same line of text. So we want now to have a line of text that is the same as this, so it matches the design. So we're going to click text. Oops. We've got that there. Click, and we're going to click text. There it is. And we're going to add text here. So we're going to say street, address, city, state. And now we're going to nudge that up. If I press up arrow, you'll see it's too far up. But it might be easier and require less movement to nudge it down. So Control and the down arrow key, holding down the Control key or the Command key on a Mac, will move this down. Now I'm going to go back into my layers palette. See the layers button here on the left? That's going to open that up again. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to turn on that dinner and dancing to follow. Turn it back on. And I'm going to highlight local country club and the address, and I'm going to move that down. I just did the one down arrow key. Way too much. One key back up. And I'm going to nudge it, pressing Control and the down arrow key. Nudge, nudge, nudge. Getting it where you want to go. There we go. Dinner and dancing to follow at. Clicking on that layer and adding just another little bit of text to make that flow off of the tongue. There we go. Now you can just click in here to see how you like that. And you think, yeah, that looks quite nice. So if you needed to do more adjustment, hang on a minute, I've got to move this back a little bit here, just pressing, there we go. So if you need to do more adjusting, just look for these design elements here that need a little bit of fiddling. Maybe you wanted to move this one a little bit. If the name was too long, you could pivot that, or you could bring it down a little bit if you wanted to, just to give it a bit more space, and so on. So when you're happy with your lines of text, what you're going to want to do now is grab all of these. Press the bottom, click on the bottom layer of text, and then go all the way up. Actually, not the lines, yeah. So click on all the layers of text here, pressing Shift now will get you all of these lines of text. And that's not everything though. We've got the country club. See how these two lines are missing here? We've got the country club and the street address. So we're going to press Control, click, holding down Control, another click. So Shift will do a whole block at a time. If you just click on one layer and then hold down Shift and click on another layer. And then if you need to add individual layers, just keep the Control key pressed down and click on those layers that you want to add. Now, we want to make sure all of these are exactly in the middle of the design. And there's an easy way to do that. See this align key up here, or align button? Just click on that. You want to make sure the selection, everything that you've selected over here on the left, is aligned. So that selection needs to be aligned to the middle. All the lines of text will be aligned to the middle. So just click on this here. And did you see it did minutely change some of these here? So now everything is down to the pixel in alignment, and it looks beautiful. So when you're done with that, you're happy with that, just click out of here, click Done. And when all the lines in your design, when all the lines of text have been edited, then you just click Add to Cart. And there you go. Hope this helps. Thank you for your time.